You're live.
Good afternoon. Welcome to City Council meeting. Today is Monday, June 2nd, 2025. It's approximately 1 p.m. I am Mayor Eric Enriquez. Before we start, I want to mention that we have an ASL, American Sign Language interpreter, up in the front row available to us at every meeting. We will start, if you please stand, we'll start with a moment of silence for the brave men and women of the United States Armed Forces as they protect our interests and around the globe, as well as the courageous men and women of the Las Cruces Police and Las Cruces Fire Department as they keep our city safe 24/7, 365. If you please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I'll go ahead and start with proclamations and presentations. So the first one is a proclamation for Migraine and Headache Awareness Month, presented to Maribela Macias. Hi, thank you for being here, Maribel. Yeah. So I'll go ahead and read the proclamation and give you a chance to say a few words. Okay. So the City of Las Cruces proclamation, whereas headache disorders, including migraine, cluster headaches, new daily persistent headaches, spinal CSF leak, orofacial pain orders, and other neurological headache diseases affect more than 40 million Americans and over 1.1 billion people worldwide. And whereas headaches are among the leading cause of disability, globally disproportionately impacting women, veterans, and historically marginalized communities. And whereas veterans and military personnel experience high rates of post-traumatic headaches and migraines due to traumatic brain injuries sustained in service. And whereas significant racial and socioeconomic disparities persist with Black, Hispanic, Native, Indigenous populations facing high rates of underdiagnosed and inadequate treatment. And whereas there is a severe shortage in headache specialists, with fewer than 800 certified headache medicine specialists nationwide, creating significant barriers to the care, particularly for rural and underserved communities. And whereas individuals with headache disorders are at an increased risk for developing depression and suicidal ideation, underscoring the urgent need for comprehensive care and mental health care support. Now, therefore, we, the Mayor and City Council of Las Cruces, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim June 25th as Migraine and Headache Awareness Month in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and encourages citizens, healthcare professionals, and policymakers to support awareness, research, and improve access to care for headache diseases. Thank you. So if you want to say a few words.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Mayor and the members of the City Council. June is Migraine and Headache Awareness Month, so this means a lot to everyone who lives with a headache disorder. If you have time, there is a mini installation celebrating headache disorders and bringing awareness in the park right in front of Brannigan Library, and there's flags displayed if you have a chance to visit. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next, it is my privilege and my honor to call up Carmen Kano so she can be recognized. Daughters can come up with her. You can come. You can all join. Family. I see Todd too, running to come down. Yeah, you can. So today, we celebrate a true legend of education in our community. Ms. Carmen Kano, a DDD early childhood education assistant at Booker T. Washington Community Elementary School, who has devoted almost 60 years of nurturing young learners in Las Cruces. I'll say that again. You've devoted almost 60 years to nurturing young learners in Las Cruces. That is truly what legends are made of. Thank you. That's amazing. It's awesome. I asked her earlier, why'd you quit? You know, but
She didn't want to.
amazing. So the number of children who she has taught to tie their shoes, to say the ABCs, to speak English as a second language, sometimes to go potty on their own, and to successfully navigate their first time being at school, for all too many to count. According to her family, if we go by how many people stop to talk to her when she goes shopping for groceries, it might be the whole city of Las Cruces by now. Ms. Kano began her journey as part of the Teachers Aid Migrant Pilot Program with the late J. Paul Taylor in 1965 and has been a pillar of support, kindness, and dedication ever since. Her first school was Lucero Elementary, which is long gone, but most of her career has been with Washington Elementary, which sits in her longtime neighborhood. She is originally from El Paso, but has lived in the Tornillo Street area since the late 50s and raised 6 of her own children while taking on the children of others. When asked what keeps her going, she says, "It's the love that I have for all those kids and for the love that they have shown me." The best educators will tell you that their work goes above and beyond teaching the fundamental schools to students. It's teaching with that special sauce, that cariño, that makes such a positive impact and impression on young minds that they carry with them for the rest of their lives. And that's what Ms. Kano has in abundance, mucho cariño. It's impossible to fully recognize the commitment and service Mrs. Kano has given to Las Cruces. Let me just say a huge thank you for all that you do and you have done as an educator, and congratulations on your retirement. You will never be forgotten, and we wish you all the best. God bless you. So we have a certificate of excellence. A certificate is proudly presented to Carmen Kano in honor of outstanding performance and recognition of her high standards of excellence. This certificate is issued in recognition of civic interest and as an expression of appreciation by the mayor on behalf of the citizens of the city of Las Cruces, dated the 2nd day of June, 2025. Congratulations. Also, just want to share that, that's the theme that we have here in Las Cruces is cariño, is adelante con cariño, to move forward. And Mrs. Canos has demonstrated that and showed that she's an example of that. And I'm sure that there's so many testimonies of all adults, and kids in this community, parents, grandparents, everyone that you have touched their lives. And so we have some pins, our Cariño pin, and I just want to give her one of those as well. Thank you.
Quickly here. Hello. My name is Terry De La Rosa Ortiz, and thank you, Mayor. Thank you, council members. And I'm the oldest of Mrs. Kano's 6 children. And what do you say about someone who dedicated her life to the community of Las Cruces? And what better than to teach the children of the community, because she taught was the value of hard work and dedication. I too followed in my mom's footsteps, and I retired in 2017. I gave the Las Cruces Public Schools about 32 years of service. So I enjoyed that, and it is the love of the children that we keep going back. So thank you, Mom. I'm so proud of you, and I'm glad I got to see this day. Thank you.
Well, how do we move on from that? Thank you, Mrs. Kano. Thank you for your 60 years of dedication and commitment. We wish you all the best. Thank you. So next on the agenda, we do have Jobs of the Week. Sarah Rainey. Is Sarah here? There she is. Come on up, Sarah.
There we go. Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Sarah Rainey. I'm the one-stop coordinator for the Southwest region of America's Job Center, New Mexico. For Jobs of the Week, we have for the city, Police Service Aid. That one starts at $18.07 an hour, and the posting closes on the 23rd. We also have an office assistant for the city, and that one begins at $15.58 an hour, and it is at a continuous posting at this time. We have an HR administrator for Darnana County. That one starts at $58,000 a year, and the posting closes on the 9th, so very soon. We have for Amador Health Clinic, a part-time pharmacist. For New Mexico Department of Agriculture, we have an admin assistant, getting tongue-tied today. That one starts at $15.45 an hour. And then for Stampede Meats, we have several openings. They have refrigeration, building systems technician, quality assurance supervisor, food safety specialist, oven operator, and more. There's actually several more listed on our site for Stampede. There's lots of opportunity. We have several events coming up this month. We have a Job Corps meet and greet at our office at 226 Alameda. That one, if anybody is between the ages of 16 and 24, come meet the Job Corps staff and find out more about those programs. We also have an American Job Center meet and greet on the 17th to find out more about all of our services. We have the Community of Hope monthly job readiness event. That one will be at the soup kitchen over there by the Community of Hope. And then on the 26th, we have a Lions Club free glasses event. That event will be information to get the free glasses that Lions Club offers, as well as if anybody has any donations to donate to the Lions Club to recycle old glasses that you're no longer using, they'll take those then as well. So lots of things coming up in June, and as always, you can reach us over at the Alameda office. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Next is Pet of the Weeks with Carol Nielsen. Come on up, Carol.
Good afternoon. I'm Carol Nilsson, Digital Content Specialist with the Animal Services Center of the Mesilla Valley. Just as a reminder, our dog and cat of the week, anytime they are promoted, are available at no cost for the week of promotion. This week, both of our pets are still available to adopt. Shocker. So we've been having some good success. But Whisper 78992, I have been at ASCMV for 305 days. I'm a gentle, shy girl, still learning to trust the world. I've started to enjoy soft scratches, quiet cuddles, and gentle walks, though I'm still learning when sudden noises or fast movement, what sudden noises or fast movements mean. I just needed a little extra help to understand the world around me. I love leaning in for hugs and staying close to people I trust. I'm looking for a calm, patient home, having trouble reading, where I can keep building my confidence and feel truly loved. And this week, our cat of the week is Kingsley, a little bit of a younger cat. His number is 92590. I'm a tiny spunky kitten just starting to explore this big, exciting world. I'm still learning to feel confident, especially around people. Right now, I like to stay close to my mom and siblings where I feel safe, but don't let that fool you. I love to chase, pounce, and wrestle with my litter mates like a pro. With time, love, and encouragement, I know I'll grow into a brave, affectionate companion who's ready to give lots of love in return. And for our long-term residents, so Whisper, of course, is our longest term. And so next we have Peppa, who has been at the center for 301 days, Diva, 266 days, Jessica, 261 days, and Coffee, 250 days. All of these are available to adopt at just $25, so we would love to see them get into a home as well. This weekend, we will be at PetSmart on Friday, and on Saturday, we'll be at Petco. So come out to our adoption events. Even if you can't adopt, it's always fun to have people come by and say hi to the pets. And also consider fostering if adopting isn't right for you right now. So lots of options. For more information, feel free to follow us on social media or visit our website, ascmv.org. Thank you for the time today.
Thank you, Carol. Oh, you had a question or a comment?
You said Petco, excuse me, you said excuse me, you said Petco, but the slide showed PetSmart? Or did I hear wrong? Probably. I should
Sorry.
put my glasses on.
I probably kind of zoomed through it a little quickly. So Friday is PetSmart, and then underneath it you see Petco.
Oh, okay. I didn't catch up. Thank you.
No worries. Happy to clarify.
Thank you.
Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
I swear to God, I didn't hear that. There we go.
Next is the conflict of interest. Does any member of the city council, city manager, or any member of the city staff have any known conflict of interest with any item on the agenda?
None by Flores?
I don't think I have a real conflict of interest, but there's the potential of a perception of a conflict of interest for Resolution 25-146, so I'll recuse myself on that because I'm employed by DACC.
None. Graham.
None.
Next is public participation. Members will be allowed up to 3 minutes, no pending litigation or items on the non-consent. Katrina will come and help you and usher you to the podium. You'll have 3 minutes. Again, identify yourself, state your name, and speak clearly into the microphone. Thank you.
Mayor, council, and those watching online, I'm Lynn Moorer. You know who I respect and admire? I respect and admire publicly elected officials who understand that it's the responsibility of citizens in a democracy to hold their elected officials accountable. I respect and admire publicly elected officials who don't call their constituents names when they disagree with them. I respect and admire publicly elected officials who don't accuse citizens of fear-mongering or lying when they raise legitimate, well-researched concerns and provide documented facts associated with those concerns. I respect and admire publicly elected officials who don't lash out belligerently when citizens challenge them to do a better job in carrying out their responsibilities. I respect and admire publicly elected officials who do their homework and get a basic grasp of relevant facts before launching into long monologues at a public meeting or talking to members of the news media or accepting invitations to participate in local radio or TV shows. I respect officials who make it a priority to comply fully with all legal requirements without subjective slant or political motive, and expect all their employees and all those under them to do so as well without exception. I respect and appreciate publicly elected officials who understand and accept that all those who voted for them expect them to treat everyone with decency and courtesy, regardless of their point of view. I respect officials who recognize that the modicum of power and recognition they acquire when elected to public office does not give them license to exploit that power and recognition by baselessly injecting racial division or seeking to disparage by ridicule or scolding those citizens who ask them to do their job differently. I respect persons who recognize that when elected to public office, they become servants of the people. I respect officials who recognize that most citizens are not that comfortable speaking publicly and who give all citizens the benefit of the doubt when they do. I respect officials who understand that many citizens who attend public meetings have to take off work in order to attend and are not interested in losing income by participating in a meeting where they're scolded, bullied, and called names by the officials they elected. I respect officials who have the humility to admit when they are wrong and to graciously apologize to those they disparaged, bullied, called names, and/or disrespected in other ways, and make their best efforts to never repeat that behavior. Thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Mayor, Council, I'm Liz Rodriguez Johnson. The city continues to fail to comply with EPA's new lead and copper rule. Under the new rule, water systems are required to offer to sample the tap for lead for any consumer who requests it who has a lead, galvanized, requiring replacement, or unknown service line. A lot of people who drink Las Cruces water may not know that they have this right to ask that their tap water be sampled because Las Cruces Utilities left this important information out of the notification letter they sent to property owners last October. Nor has Las Cruces Utilities included this important information on its website. At the town hall meeting the city hosted in March, a citizen did ask how he could get on the list to have his water sampled. Despite the rule's clear requirement that the city offer to test his tap water, Las Cruces Utilities personnel did not make this offer. Instead, they changed the subject and ignored the citizens' inquiry. Citizens are asking you, city council members and city staff, to comply with the new lead and copper rule and to protect us from the harms of lead and provide us with clean drinking water. We don't have any special clout to allow us to call the city manager to put things in motion to have state police or any other state agency come to our rescue. We're ordinary citizens who are intent on right being done for everyone who drinks Las Cruces water. We have undertaken thorough research and analysis and have concluded that Las Cruces utilities personnel are failing and are not complying with the new rule. Please use your clout for productive ends for the city as a whole. Direct the city manager to bring in an independent engineer with management experience to assess comprehensively Las Cruces utilities compliance with the new rule and recommend any needed changes that would lead to a comprehensive resolution of the issue. This would be a responsible course of action, and the city as a whole would benefit. Thank you.
Mayor, City Council, my name is Edward Thomas. Mayor, I'd like to talk to you about your tyrannical overreach and the lack of integrity, the lack of intellect, and the lack of proper civil decorum with which you ran the last meeting. Right before the public comment portion began, you admonished us to follow the rules and be respectful. Yet, when your council members spoke, they seemed to have ignored your instructions. So your admonition to obey the rules of respect and proper civil decorum applied to the speaking public, but not to the council. The childish and immature name-calling, the desperate attempt to make this about race by calling us segregationists and churchgoers just proves my point. The bad faith smearing and slandering that we're racists and elitists that don't care for the homeless was the icing on the cake. That somehow we are anti-business because we don't want a small restaurant or auto repair shop next door to us. Again, slanderous and untrue statements were made. Councilor Matisse, obviously my comments about City Council don't apply to you. You seem to be the only one with any sense of civic duty and common sense. You have both my utmost respect and my sincere sympathy. I recognize your standalone bravery in the face of this vote along to get along peer pressure. I'm not surprised and certainly not fooled by the intentional foot dragging and obfuscation on the part of the city clerk, her staff, and the city lawyers. They consumed our time and purposely delayed our efforts to collect signatures by not giving us clear and concise answers to our questions, and in fact gave us erroneous or misleading guidance. Then, when we turned in our signatures, your city clerk, under your direction, summarily struck out signatures for the most trivial and questionable of reasons. That's akin to putting the fox in charge of the chicken coop. The mayor and staff have made a mockery of the petition process, and a legitimate petition has been squashed by illegitimate subversion and a willingness to deny the citizens of Las Cruces a fair and transparent redress for grievances as afforded to us by the Constitution. You previously violated the Open Meetings Act, and now you're violating the right to public petition. For this reason, I have filed a complaint with the New Mexico Department of Justice in hopes of shedding light on this travesty and to make the Attorney General aware of the events that have taken place. I included a link to the YouTube video of the last City Council meeting so that he can see and hear the ridiculous comments made by members of the council toward the citizens who signed the petition or participated in signature gathering. The name-calling, ridiculing, and bizarre statements made about the citizens who signed the petition should get the AG's attention. No one was coerced, menaced, or tricked into signing the petition.
I'm Richard Meyer. I'm a new resident of the city, just short of 2 months. I sent an email to Councilor Graham just on Saturday, and I've had a good response back from her and a couple other parties. I'm going to read the email. I'm going to skip the first part, which has my personal address in it, and I've already said how much time I've been here. My landlord has never discussed the water/sewer subject with me. Here are the property watering sprinkling facts for my home that I have apparently inherited from the previous tenant. I'm a renter now for 2 months. Sprinklers run for apparently 4 hours every day of the week in clear violation of the mandated summer schedule of 3 days per week. 2 relatively small areas receive water at somewhat similar rates, with a backyard area watered during 8 a.m. and 6 a.m. and 10 p.m., and a front yard area during 7 a.m. and 11 p.m. All of these times adhere to the city's regulation. Water consumption, according to Utility Hawk software, averages just over 500 gallons per day. Again, this is strictly for outside sprinklers, considered by me to be far in excess of need, even if delivered only on the mandated 3 days of the week. I'm new to living in desert condition, having spent my entire life until now in northern or temperate states. As such, I need advice appropriate for my new situation. I really desire to be a responsible citizen, fully participating in the city's guidelines for water usage. Unfortunately, I've been so far unable to learn anything useful about appropriate water usage. I participated in a lengthy telephone conversation with a courteous and patient utilities information man, with the end result being the city provides no information to folks so much as myself. I say I'm running short. I've reluctantly come to the consideration the city is conflicted here. 1, it presents a sobering assessment of the water supply problem confronting it, with commentary for citizens to help deal with the serious problem. 2, it provides no practical advice. 3, this is further suggested by the city's failure to enforce a long-standing non-compliance by my property with the days. That's basically the content. I've had a response back from Councilor Graham and
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Diaz.
Your time is up.
I
We have other
got it.
people wanting to speak.
I understand, and I thank you for it.
Thank you.
Hello. This is my first time speaking, so I hope I do it right. Mayor, council people, my name is Linda Cox. I would like to thank Councilman Bill Matisse for his support for our right to vote as legal Las Cruces residents and citizens of America. I was born in Carlsbad, and I was raised in Las Cruces from the age of 13, so I do know this city. I am offended by council comments that I am a racist, a church-going segregationist, because I want a quiet, safe neighborhood. Anyone who drives through my neighborhood will see a diverse group of residents from different backgrounds, different ages, different religious beliefs. If you do come to my neighborhood, you will see a friendly group of people who get along. We respect each other, and we enjoy the freedoms of choosing safe environment places to live. We know our neighbors, and we are there to help them when they need it. We celebrate new babies and mourn with those who lose loved ones. Just because we choose a quiet, safe neighborhood does not mean we are racist or segregationist. I was deeply offended by these comments, and I do hope you will apologize. Thank you again, Councilor Matisse.
Mayor, Council, Juan Garcia. The following are excerpts from the Las Cruces Bulletin 30 May op-ed, and I start my quote. I don't trust the Las Cruces city government to faithfully execute the citizens' referendum process. In 2014, a group of politically active residents, headed by CAFE, launched a petition drive to increase the minimum wage. When the petition was successful, members of the city council were not pleased. Once again, this time some of the city council were not pleased with the realized petition drive. This time, the city council didn't rely on slimy lawyers' tricks to avoid the horrors of having their decisions put to the test by a vote of the people. They simply relied on the tried and true method of rejecting every petition that was not filled out perfectly. And I continue with this quote. As much as I support the new ordinance, I support democracy more. And elected leaders picking and choosing which signatures are valid based on political expediency is not good for our democracy. It's unfortunate that racial division was injected into an already difficult discussion. City Council member Joanna Bencomo claimed that those opposed to the new ordinance have, quote, segregationist tendencies. And I continue. Ultimately, I don't think these decisions by the City Council are about zoning or the minimum wage or supporting liberal or conservative causes. I think they're about power. And I end this quote. Disappointed to hear Councilor Flores speak of fear-mongering, church attending, whatever. Not clear what that means. Not what I would expect from her. Councilor Bencomo's remarks, on the other hand, were divisive and an attempt to silence those she despises. She accused others of stoking fear, twisting the truth, breaking rules, and lying. Yet she lied in a despicable public act by stating Tim Jenkins had posted every council member's address online. It wasn't just false, it was a calculated, shameless violation of basic ethics. She loves to repeat, politics is not a spectator sport, but the moment residents from her own district, a place she let rot into chaos, finally demanded answers after Officer Hernandez was murdered, she played the victim. She deserved the backlash, but played the poor, pitiful victim and offered nothing but hollow excuses. She's quick to accuse others of, quote, segregationist tendencies, while her closest ally, who sits on the LCPS board, goes on the radio and spits out the words, these people. Yes, these people, describing those he hates. The bigotry isn't subtle. It must be a family team sport. In addition, apparently the guidelines you posted above here for public participation exempt some of the council. Thank you.
Howdy, my name is Lonnie Montgomery, and I'm a follower of Jesus Christ. And dear Lord God, I want to lift up the mayor and the council, and I want you to have them have more powers of discernment that they can make wiser decisions. Now, exactly who am I? Well, according to Clinton, I'm a deplorable, and I am a Christian, and I believe in the country from the beginning was raised on Christian principles, so I am a Christian nationalist. And someplace in the council chamber, I became riffraff. But the real thing I am a male, and I ID as a 20-year-old male with toxic masculinity. But that has nothing to do, and just following these wonderful people here, my colleagues, I go in here and I find out from Bencomo that I'm a segregationist. No, I'm not, and I think that's slanderous. And I think you did the same thing to Sarah Smith, and you owe her a big apology. But segregationists, those were Democrats in the South keeping people of color in their place. And there's some place in the east, they have a lynching museum. And they have pictures of people having the picnics and things like that, going to the lynchings. And if you look at it and you go back into history, probably 99.9% of the lynchings to colored people in the South were done by Democrats, I'm sorry to say. And you want to talk about diversity? I found diversity. When I took those petitions around, I went to my neighborhood, and I found all sorts of Christians. I found Catholic Christians, I found Pentecostals, I found others, but most of all, I found diversity. You want diversity? Come to Estados Serenos. That's a quiet neighborhood like this other lady lives in. We walk people on the trail, they come around and we talk and we love each other, and we're all sorts. I mean, we have Poles, we have Danish people, we have Scotch-Irish, we have Lithuanians, and we have a lot of Latinos. And speaking of Latinos and stuff, I don't know why you don't put this on the ballot. 59.4% of our population is Hispanic, and about 33 are white. So why don't you want the ballot? Are you afraid it will be defeated because of the people who have worked so hard to get their single-family housing? Is that what you guys are afraid of? Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And now for something completely different. My name is Michael Harris, for the record. I thought I'd bring up today a disturbing trend I've noticed around town of automated license plate reading cameras, both on private and city rights-of-way. The cameras that I've personally seen appear to be from a company called Flock, which is very famous in the space, and maybe there's some others that are less conspicuous. There are at least 10 of these on Lowman, University, Missouri, and several at Lowe's and Home Depot each. These cameras take photos of every car that passes, day and night. They read the plate, they upload it to a national database, which is owned and operated by this private company. And there are no real meaningful legal restrictions on the use of that data once it is up there. All you really need to look through it is a contract with Flock. Recent leaks have also revealed that Flock is building a people search tool, so these cameras that were ostensibly put in place just to read license plates and monitor cars are probably actually monitoring everybody's faces as well. Maybe the data it's produced is useful to solve an occasional crime. I'll add that just right before this meeting, I actually heard a brief story about LCPD finding and returning some property to a friend of mine because of some private cameras that were at his place of work. So anyway, it's possible. But given the coverage in this town, it seems doubtful that you could track a stolen asset using these Flock cameras with any accuracy. So it seems like mainly a way for an understaffed police department to appear to be doing something, maybe wasting a little bit of money and not spending very much effort on it. Each camera costs about $2,500 per year, so that's a decent chunk of money. It's not an FTE, it's a rounding error in the overall budget, but it would buy a few ballistic windshields for cruisers, which would actually help people. The real problem then is the inadvertent one, which is the constant creeping surveillance of every single resident in this city and potential misuse by others other than LCPD. Recently, it's been revealed that ICE, despite not having their own contract with Flock, regularly accesses this database by asking local police departments for the occasional favor. These don't even have to be the departments whose jurisdiction the cameras are. It was revealed just last Friday that a detective in Texas went searching through the national database to find a woman who had an abortion in another state, and they were concerned for her safety. The kicker there is that the search didn't even find her, so it's not only a shocking overreach of authority, but it's also a testament to how the system doesn't really do the job that maybe it was intended to in the first place. So maybe some residents are in favor of these use cases, but I bet that it's not what people who put the cameras up signed up for. Today, maybe it's being used to find a stolen Kia. Tomorrow, maybe they're being used to see who goes to a certain doctor's office. Or maybe El Paso police search for everybody who's been to a dispensary. Or maybe you find out who goes to a certain church. That's it.
Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Parrott. I live in District 6. This weekend, I had the privilege of attending a conference in Calvary Chapel, Chino Hills, California, and in a worship service yesterday morning before I drove back, and it was worth every mile. The pastor, Pastor Jack Hibbs, mentioned this book, When Culture Hates You, Persevering for the Common Good as Christians in a Hostile Public Square. And I'd like to read some passages from it. Loving your neighbor by publicly advocating for a soup kitchen and loving your neighbor by publicly advocating for the protection of life in the womb are both outworkings of a biblical worldview. But there is a difference between how those two actions are perceived by culture. The former will likely draw ambivalence or approval, the latter serious condemnation. As Christians, therefore, we aren't resented for everything we believe and do, but because we're reviled for opposing some of the values most cherished by culture, we're increasingly hated as a group. The gatekeepers would love nothing more than us to just keep serving soup while being silent about issues on which we're at odds with culture. And that's a tempting proposition for many Christians. After all, if we did that, culture would like us. Who wants to be hated? But when culture hates you, when you're reviled for promoting your views in the public square, such as me and the rule of real estate law, it takes deep conviction and courage to nonetheless persevere for the common good. But being hated is exactly what Jesus told us to expect if we're going to follow his commands. Silence in exchange for cultural respect is a deal with the devil. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council. My name is Lucas Herndon. I'm a resident in District 2. At the end of last week's 2 weeks ago meeting, Mr. Mayor took exception to my description of the police committing homicide by me calling it murder. So I will try to not use that term. When the police commit homicide against the citizens, since 2005, less than 150 police have been arrested for murder charges, and of those, less than 5% have been convicted. New Mexico remains the most dangerous place to live when it comes to having homicide committed against your body by a police officer. Nationally, police have killed 12 fewer people than they did last year in the United States, except in New Mexico, where they have killed 3 more people than they had at this point in time last year. I don't know how to make people as afraid of the police as they should be. They are clearly a dangerous group of people. They are armed, the state sanctions them, and they basically have a freedom to execute you. In the state of New Mexico, a federal judge just found that a man was shot in his own home by the police, that those police cannot be held accountable. And when the wife of this man found her husband dead on the floor, she picked up his gun and returned fire because somebody had just shot through their window and front door, murdering this man. I did it. Shit. I'm sorry. The police committed homicide against this man in his own home because somebody knocked on his door in the middle of the night, and when his wife found his body and his gun, she picked it up and fired. The police fired at her 19 times. I don't know how you can be so upset by the word murder when we are living in a fascist state of uniformed thugs with the authority to kill you and not answer for that. And all these bootlickers here who come out and support them every single week, who have no risk of it because of the color of their skin, I wish your priorities were in the right place.
I'm Marilyn Finnegan. I believe I'm in District 6. I vote in every election. I didn't go out to get signatures on the petition to change the voting zoning, but I did sign it.
Yeah.
Whether my
Ma'am, we can't hear you. You can pull the microphone down towards.
Okay, you want me to start
speak.
over?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
My name is Marilyn Finnegan. I think I'm a voter in District 6. I vote in every election. I didn't go out to get signatures on the petition to change the zoning, but I did sign it. Whether I signed it with my initial in Marilyn J. Finnegan or just Marilyn Finnegan, I want my vote counted. That little technicality should not have been put in there. I want to go on record that I am upset that you decided for the whole city to change our zoning. No matter how many signatures were on that petition, it's more than just the few of you that decided that we could change our voting. Thank you.
Mayor, Council, my name is Jim Wilcox, and today I'm going to give you an opportunity to help protect our native plants and to protect the city from a possible claim of violation of the protection against double jeopardy as defined in the Fifth Amendment. So what happened was, about a year ago, I got a notice that said I had noxious weeds. So I looked at my yard and I'm like, well, which ones are the noxious ones and which ones are the native plants? So I thought, well, I'll go to the trial. So we had a bench trial, and Brad's catching it there. So we had a bench trial, and I said to the codes officer, who's a nice guy, I said, if I gave you a list of noxious and native plants, could you tell me which ones are which? And he goes, I don't think so. So I said, if I showed you pictures of native plants and noxious, he goes, no, I can't. And he looked to the judge, he says, Your Honor, I've never been trained in identifying either. So the judge heard my point that if the crime can't be defined, I can keep getting tickets. And so that's a violation of double jeopardy under the Fifth Amendment. And the judge said, he goes, this is really hard. And so then he asked for a picture. They showed a picture. He said, I find the defendant not guilty. So I set precedent that you can't go out and tell people they have noxious weeds. And here's the thing, they're cutting down the good stuff. It's scorched earth policy. People are going out just ripping all the plants up. And this means that the native birds and the insects and the native plants are all being ripped out. So I thought, well, I'll talk to the city attorney. So I sent him an email and he acknowledged he got my email. So I didn't hear anything. So I talked to the codes director, who's really a nice guy. He said, oh, I'm glad you brought this up. We were thinking about continuing our efforts to define this, kind of like they do in Albuquerque. And so I said, I'll call you back. So I called him back in 2 months, and he said, oh, government works really slowly. We haven't had a chance. So I waited 3 months, and I called him, and he never called me back. Called him again, he never called me back. So I went to the coalition of conservatives who are here, and they said, what? I got a guy with a truck sitting in his yard, and Codes hasn't done anything about it, and they're worried about weeds they can't even define? And then I went to the Progressive Voters Alliance, and they went, what? What's going on? Why were they after you? You're trying to protect things. So now I'm telling you, you have a chance to protect yourself against a possible claim of a violation against double jeopardy by just defining which is which. Albuquerque lists 10, says you can't have these. Here's 10 you can have. And you can also protect our environment and encourage the thing you want, which is a native landscape within our city to make it beautiful. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jim Hurst. I thought that since this is June, you would be passing a gay rights resolution, a resolution supporting Gay Rights Month, but apparently that's not the case. So I wish the agenda would include the resolutions. In any case, I will make my comment as though you had supported gay rights. From Jefferson's letter to the Danbury Baptist, 1801, I contemplate with sovereign reverence that the act of the whole American people which declared that their legislature should make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, thus building a wall of separation between church and state. End quote. Today, you declared Gay Pride Month, affirming the rights of the LGBTQ community. This resolution is not without controversy. Many in this county and even in this room oppose this action. Presumably, they do so for religious reason. This commission can make declarations that are against religious opinions because we have a wall of separation between church and state. In the last few decades, our society has made great strides in advancing diversity, inclusion, and equity for the LGBTQ community. Long overdue, but better late than never. We have done so because reason has prevailed over religious dogma and superstition. If it were up to some of our religious institutions, we would have never reached this point. Indeed, much of the faith community is greatly distressed that we have reached this point. They fear that the judgment of God Almighty will fall on our nation, and they cry out to us to repent. If it were up to them, we would reverse course and deny the rights which have been so recently granted. We would cease to recognize same-sex marriage. We would deny transgender medical care, and we would censor art and entertainment that gave positive portrayals of homosexuality. If there were no wall between church and state, they might succeed. LGBTQ rights are only secure while the wall of separation of church and state stands. If that wall is breached and many rights are put in jeopardy, birth control comes to mind. So if you wish to honor gay rights, then uphold separation of church and state, maintain it, and strengthen it. I want to address also the subject of Realize Las Cruces. If those who think they have a cause against this county council, they should take it to court, not try it here in council meetings. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, council, mayor. Disrespectful, degrading, threatening, or slanderous remarks are strictly prohibited unless you're a council member, I guess. I came here on May 19th and I asked us as citizens to remember that this is not a legal requirement to be able to have public comment.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
I said Donna Stryker.
Okay.
I did. Okay.
Now you did. Thanks.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I know my name. I keep forgetting it to say it. I apologize. I asked if we could try to adhere to the slides above me, those ones that we see every week, before we deliver our comments. The performance of some of the council on May 19th meeting showed poor judgment, prejudice, accusations, and inappropriate behavior for elected officials. And you did not come close to following the slides above. But I guess you have different rules, or no rules, so you can ramble on as long as you want so you can hear yourself talk. The name-calling, liars, churchgoers, beating our head against the sky, chicken littles, and my favorite, segregationists. The interesting thing is, that is exactly what you are suggesting from your comments. You segregate me as I sit in chambers, and you judge me and my family. A person who supports the policy of enforced separation of different racial groups. When you mention brown people, you are excluding other races, are you not? Churchgoers versus non-churchgoers. Are you not supporting an enforced separation of different racial groups under the guise of having a better knowingness of what is good for all of us? You assume because I'm white or because I'm older, you assume I'm a segregationist. One of my grandsons is brown, one of my granddaughters is black, my son is gay, my youngest son, but then you wouldn't know that because you're too busy sitting judging me and assuming you understand me or what I believe. You mock the citizens and you sit up there and are completely unprofessional. Disrespectful, degrading, and threatening. You mock the oath of the office that you took. I, City Councilor's name, subscribe upon my oath that as a City Councilor for the City of Las Cruces, New Mexico, for a term to end, date that would apply, I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the State of New Mexico and the ordinances of the City of Las Cruces, and I will faithfully, oh, interesting use of a word that you apparently don't believe in, and impartially discharge the duties of the City Council to the best of my ability. If some of your performances on May 19th are your commitment to impartiality, then we are certainly in trouble. Please take time to consider your oath of office to your citizens. I must thank you, though. Now people can watch your performance from the 19th and decide if it's time for a change. Your behavior was and is clearly a reflection of how you really feel about anyone who is not brown or somehow different from you or not in your select group. By using those terms, you belittle my family, my city, and you separate us once again. Watch your words. Once you speak them, you cannot take them back.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council, Fire Department, and Police Department. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Can you state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry, Tim Jenkins. Sorry about that. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We recite this at every council meeting before we begin. But yet certain council members refuse to abide by the very oath they swore to uphold. I can guarantee you 100% that if I stood here in council chambers and called certain members on council a liar and told her that she broke rules and manipulated people and exploited them at their worst fears by her actions, that I would be physically removed from council chambers and asked to never return. So how is it perfectly fine coming from council members that swore an oath to uphold the law, but yet seem to refuse to? And how is it possible for certain council members to treat Sarah Smith with such disregard and vile hatred? And how is it possible for certain council members to attack my reputation and say that I posted all their addresses on the internet when in fact I have no clue of their addresses? And how is it possible for certain council members to say that she can spot us from a mile away and call us chicken littles and say we are a bunch of fear-mongering, church-attending people and should go beat our heads against the sky? The rhetoric and behavior coming from certain council members is unfathomable. You are an elected official that were elected to be our voice and to fight for us. But yet it seems that certain council members fight for their own agenda and could care less about making the city safer for all. And I would like to make something crystal clear for the record that we do not have segregationist tendencies as certain council members suggest. We are fighting for justice for all and not just for a certain demographic of people. As for me and my family, we back the blue and we will continue to support them and thank them for their service every day. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Katrina, for assisting. Next, I'll read a closed meeting statement that took place earlier today. If I can find it. City Council met in closed session today at 10:05 a.m. on June 2nd. The following were in attendance: Councilor Graham, Councilor McClure, Councilor Carran, Mayor Pro Tem Bencomo, Mayor Enriquez, City Manager Ikani Tamopayao, City Attorney Brad Douglas, Assistant City Attorney Henry Becker, City Clerk Christine Rivera, Assistant City Manager J.C. Borrego, Parks Director Parks and Recreation Director Stephen Bingham, Utilities Director Adrian Widmer, Dominique Rodriguez, and Assistant City Manager Sonia Delgado. Outside counsel was Taylor Rahm, Jay Stain, Jim Brockman, Nan Winter, John Stomp. The meeting adjourned at 12:12 p.m. The closed meeting discussion was limited to the items as stated in the posted notice. Discussion litigation regarding Mario Gomez versus City of Las Cruces, cause number D 307 CV 2024-01022. To discuss pending litigation regarding Ana Obregon versus City of Las Cruces, and to discuss pending or threatening litigation regarding Texas versus New Mexico and Colorado, origin number 141. Next is the acceptance of agenda.
So moved by Flores.
Second, Corin.
This is on the motion to accept the agenda as presented. Councilor McClure?
Yes.
Councilor Matisse?
Yes.
Councilor Graham?
Yes.
Councilor Cran?
Yes.
Councilor Flores?
Yes.
Councilor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. So we'll move into resolutions and/or ordinances for discussions. Item 8.1 is a public hearing. The public hearing is now open. The time is 2:08 p.m. Is there anyone for or against the issuance of this liquor license? Seeing none, the public hearing is now closed at 2:08 p.m. It'll be resolution number 25-146, a resolution approving the request for a governmental liquor license with on-premises consumption at New Mexico State University, doing business as Dominicana Community College, located at 2800 North Sonoma Ranch Boulevard.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, Bencomo.
Okay, Adam.
Thank you, Mayor. Adam Ochoa, Community Development. For the record, before you will have a proposed liquor license. It's called a governmental liquor license submitted by New Mexico State University, doing business as what is Doñana Community College, there we go, at 2800 North Sonoma Ranch Boulevard. So again, this is an application for a governmental liquor license associated with the actual school itself for the culinary arts section in the school and for special events. That is essentially what the liquor license is for. The ABC, or Alcoholic Beverage Control, did send preliminary approval to the city on April 11th of this year. No time extension was required for this liquor license from the ABC. Majority of reviewing staff saw no issues with the application, minus the fact that a liquor license going on school property. But because of that, staff did send out the required public notice to surrounding property owners, letting them know of the proposal. Council has the authority to waive that requirement of 300 feet distance from a school property to a liquor license. Shown here, the Doñana Community College campus here on south of Callejitas, east of what is Sonoma Ranch Boulevard. So your options: 1, to vote yes and approve the proposed liquor license, or 2, to vote no and deny. The ABC will then be notified of the vote, and they will continue the application process. I stand for questions.
All right, thank you, Adam. Any questions? Councilor Flores?
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. And thank you, Mr. Ochoa. My question is this something new on college campuses? I mean, it's been like 5 decades since I went to college, or 6 actually. So is this something new, or is it just for special events?
Councilor Flores, Mayor, no liquor licenses are seen throughout universities and colleges in New Mexico, and MSU has one, I believe, for their whatever the events they have. I believe, excuse me, UNM has them as well. This is a governmental one where basically if you're a government entity, aka like a college, you could apply for this with the state. I believe that's something that the city can possibly look at as well, since it is a governmental liquor license, ma'am.
And is it for special events in the evening, or is there going to be a vending machine with beer or bottles of wine, or how does that work?
Councilor Flores, Mayor, no, again, so this is associated with the culinary arts section more than anything, and for any type of special events they might have where they'd be serving wine or whatever it is with meals and so forth like that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Ochoa, for clarifying that.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mayor.
Seeing no other questions, Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-146. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran recused herself. Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is item 8.2, also a public hearing is required. The public hearing is now open. Time is 2:12 p.m. Is there anyone here for or against the issuance of this liquor license?
Mr. Mayor, my name is Gary Guest, and I'm here on Zoom. I'm local legal counsel for BW Gas Convenience Retail. I'm here to answer any questions you may have of us for this liquor license.
All right, thank you. Public hearing is now closed. It's 2:13 p.m. Resolution number 25-147.
Move to approve.
Second by Flores.
Okay, Adam, you're up.
Waiting on your green light. Thank you, sir. Again, before you, we have another liquor license for what is known as BW Gas and Convenience Retails LLC, doing business as in Las Cruces as Allsup's store number 102489. This is an application for a transfer of ownership and change of location of what is a dispenser liquor license. That is liquor license number 000137 with package sales only, essentially for package sales out of the store is what it's for. Alcoholic Beverage Control did send preliminary approval to the city on April 15th of this year. No time extension was required by the city from the ABC. This went out for review to all relevant departments in our city. No issues were identified by the reviewing staff for the proposed application. Shown the property here, just recently opened not too long ago on what is the North Sonoma Ranch, the future extension of Angler going running on north of it here. With the Metro Verde area, I'm sure you all know where it is, familiar with it. But your option is 1, to vote yes and approve the proposed liquor license, or 2, to vote no and deny, after which the ABC will be notified of the vote and the application process will continue with them. That is the conclusion of my presentation, and I stand for questions.
Thank you, Adam. Any questions by council? All right, seeing none. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-147. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is item 8.3, Resolution 25-148.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, Corin.
Ready, Kev?
I am. Good afternoon, Mayor, councilors, city staff, and community members. I am Gabriela Prats, Grants Manager in the Finance Department. Before you is a resolution to approve budget adjustments for 4 grants recently awarded to the city. The New Mexico Department of Public Safety recently awarded to the amount of $132,545.92 to the Las Cruces Police Department. This is the third year in a 3-year grant award from the Department of Public Safety to provide retention differential payments to Las Cruces Police Department officers that are qualified to receive this incentive. The second grant is a reauthorization from the New Mexico Department of Transportation with funds from the Federal Highway Administration for the Parks and Recreation Department's lateral trail project. The amount of award is $412,104, and it requires a match of $176,386. This is, of course, to be used on the Las Cruces lateral multi-use trail, including construction of the trail from University Avenue to intersect East Idaho and South Main. This award is a reauthorization and an increase in funds from the original grant award of $183,696 that was made in 2021. Project costs have increased over these past 4 years, and so Parks negotiated an increase in funding as well as an extension through March of 2027. The Parks and Recreation Department has also received from the New Mexico Economic Development Department Outdoor Recreation Division's Trails Plus program, a $1 million grant for the Las Cruces Bike Park. With this one requires a $1 million match as well. This will allow for the planning, design, and beginning of construction of the bike park, which is a part of the East Mesa Recreation Complex. The bike park will include facilities for all biking interests and skill levels. This will be the first bike park in the region, so this is a very exciting project. The fourth grant is made to the Public Works Department by the New Mexico Department of Finance and Administration for $550,000 to plan, design, and construct road improvements in the East Mesa area. 100% of the funds from this grant will be used on Cortez Drive, which is currently under construction. Here are your council options, and I stand for questions. There are representatives from the departments that were granted if you have questions that go into details of the projects.
Okay, thank you, Gabby. Councilor Matisse?
If you could bring up page 3, and then Stephen, maybe you could answer. I think you had an extension till 2027 to use the funding. But will you run into the same problem, or are you considering getting this done in 2025?
No, we are ready to go back out and rebid this. We actually put this out to bid 5 times, and 3 of those times there was no responses. The last time we had 1 response that came in on time and 2 just after the deadline. But there was an issue in the language with the New Mexico State DOT, and their procurement and our procurement needed to get aligned. And they made the decision that it was best that we rebid it. And so we are ready to rebid it. They've given us some additional money, and we want to move forward quickly.
Thank you. Yeah, could you go to the next slide, Gabby?
Sure thing.
Yeah, because you kind of went through that fast for me. So we're getting the project?
Yes, this is
Is that one that Steve can talk to?
Sure.
Thanks.
Yes, Steve Bam, Parks and Rec Director. This project is probably the most ecstatic I am of anything I've done since I've come here with Las Cruces. I'm really excited about what we're doing with the legacy parks and the construction that's about to start at Apodaca. But one of the things that I really felt we needed to do was to diversify our park system. And this will significantly diversify our park system. The other thing is it will bring in a facility that will have an economic impact to our economy here in Las Cruces. People will come from hundreds of miles away to ride our local trails, but also participate in this bike park. And so we've got a really great project planned, and the state, when we presented it to them, was really excited when they saw the vision of it.
Okay, thank you, Stephen. And this is at the East Mesa Sports Complex?
Yes, sir.
And I know I've talked to a lot of the BMX, participants, the kids, the adults, everyone else. Was this something that came from them, or who initiated this?
There was a citizen that asked me about what we could do to improve biking, probably about 3 months after I got here. But I actually, in my career, did a bike park that had a regional draw, got some national recognition, and I felt like there was a lot of similarities to our outdoor recreation opportunities here that we weren't capitalizing on, that we could if I brought in something similar. So this has plans for a pump track, NICO course, which is a national high school type course. It's something that when I did it previously, it took and helped get people into the outdoors, and it's a really a cross between, there's some entry-level features that will help beginning bikers learn to deal with the type of courses you find naturally in the park system. So there's a lot of neat things that'll be with this.
Oh, that's great. Thank you, Sim. Appreciate it. Yes, Councilor Graham.
I'll jump in as a representative of the biking community. There's huge support and demand for this kind of facility, especially as Director Bingham said, we are a mountain biking paradise down here, but it can be tough to break in on the kind of trails we have. They kind of say if you learn to ride around here, you can ride anywhere besides Moab, but it can be a high barrier to get out and learn safely. So I think this will be great. As mentioned, we do have an organized youth team going now. And also, when I've gone on some bike-alongs with LCPD, they've also expressed support for this. It's also a great place where our bicycle patrol officers can meet in community with cyclists, especially younger folks. So I just think across the boards, this would be a great addition. Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for the input, Councilor. Councilor Matisse.
No, I just want to thank the director, everyone getting this into the Las Cruces area. We hear so often that the youth don't have anything to do, that they're bored, and I think this is really a well-spent, I guess, $2 million, and thank you.
Thanks. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-148. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next is item 8.4, resolution number 25-149, a resolution approving updates to the park development fees.
Move to approve, Graham.
Second, Corin.
Good afternoon, Mayor, members of City Council. Let me open this up, please. So if you remember, we held a work session back at the end of April to discuss this particular item. The purpose of this resolution is to review and potentially update our park impact fees, our land use assumptions associated with said park impact fees, and CIP every 5 years. Impact fees, as you all know, are a funding mechanism to offset growth impacts. Basically, as new growth comes in, we want to maintain the types of services, the level of service that we provide those new residents coming into the city. These periodic changes to these fees are essentially needed because things change over time. Household sizes, fluctuating levels of service, cost escalations, and a number of other things. This particular fee currently sits at about $2,600 per unit that is collected at the time of building permit. The last review of park impact fees took place in 2019. No changes were made to that, and the fee that exists today was actually established back in 2013, so it's been quite a long time. Something to note about the draft study that was prepared and presented to you at the work session in April, and that was, of course, attached to your packet today, is that it's the maximum allowable fee. Council, of course, can lower this, but they cannot exceed this number. The study includes land use assumptions, capital improvement plan, which is the facility types that would be included in this type of study and this type of fee. The impact fees themselves by housing type or by unit size. And then, of course, the revenues and shortfalls needed to maintain our levels of service over time. And ultimately, I'm going to turn this over to Julie Herlins. She's with Tischler Bice. She was the consultant that aided in the development of this particular study so that she can go through the finer details and provide any information related to those fees as well as the methodologies. And so with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Julie.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members of council. My name is Julie Herlins. I'm vice president with Tischler Bice. Good to be with you again. I was here about a month ago, I believe it was, so time flies. Or maybe 2 months. Anyway, it's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. Okay, a little bit of background. I don't have much detail. I'm happy to answer any questions if you have specific questions about any of the math, the methodologies, assumptions, et cetera. This is meant to be more of a summary, overview, and refresher of where we left off the last time. So for impact fees, it is a regulation. It's a land use regulation. It's a one-time payment at the time of building permit. It is only paid by new development. Existing residents or businesses would not pay unless there is a renovation that expands the capacity of that facility or that residence or the business, the footprint, and there would be you would be eligible for a credit payment for what's already in place today in terms of the land use that's in place today. So again, only by new development, not existing residents or businesses. It is intended to help fund capital improvements that provide additional capacity. It cannot be used for operations, so no staffing expenditures. It is not to be used for maintenance or repairs of existing facilities. So again, only for additional rep funds, only to be used for expansion of capacity. And as I mentioned, it's a land use regulation, not a tax. So that is why there is a process in place to establish the nexus between the fee, the payer, the benefit of the use of the revenue. It is not a pure legislative decision. It needs to have a basis, foundation, and backup documentation. That's the reason for this process. The three requirements that are needed for an impact fee are shown here. There needs to be a need for the infrastructure. That growth is creating the need for the infrastructure, and this is to maintain levels of service for future growth. Proportionality is in that new growth, that fee payer, the new resident, the new housing unit, the new business is not paying more than its fair share of that infrastructure. So again, the reason for all of the math in the report, establishing that proportionality. And then a benefit is received. So as the funds are collected, they are spent for the purposes for which they're collected, to expand capacity in the system for those improvements that are identified, those types of improvements that are identified. As part of the process, we need to establish land use assumptions and levels of service. There is a New Mexico Impact Fee Act, so there are requirements in there. And again, the reason for the process, the reason for the report that you have seen, and public hearings, et cetera, and ultimate adoption or changes to the ordinance. So for the city of Las Cruces, the impact fees that we have the impact fee that we have produced include the following components, and this is part of the Parks and Recreation system. As it stands now, again, we have a couple alternatives in the report. One that has a fee that includes neighborhood parks and a fee that excludes neighborhood parks, and we'll show the fee summary for each of those combinations. Or sorry, for both of those combinations. So the components that are in the fees currently: neighborhood parks, community parks, or that are in the proposed community parks athletic, which is a separate category, special use parks, trails, recreation centers, recreation centers, indoor aquatic facilities, and outdoor aquatic facilities. So all combined for each of those components, the maximum allowable parks impact fees that have been calculated, and as Catherine had mentioned, this is the maximum amount. The council can choose to go lower, but would not be justified in going higher than these amounts. We've also presented this fee schedule with an option for implementation either by housing type. So the top portion, maximum allowable impact fee, parks impact fee, by type of unit for a single family housing unit is $5,934 per unit. The multifamily would be $3,842 per unit. Or alternatively, a fee schedule that can be implemented by housing unit size, and that's measured in square footage. And so the bottom portion of this slide shows the fee schedule by size of unit, and this is all units combined together. So a unit that would be less than 1,300 square feet would be assessed a rate of $2,480. The mid-range, 1,301 to 2,100 square feet, at a maximum impact fee of $4,499, and then a housing unit that's 2,101 square feet or more would be assessed a fee of $6,931. And this is, again, a fee schedule that includes all of those components that I mentioned on the previous slide, including neighborhood parks. The summary of growth-related needs based on the land use projections, which are part of the fee study, part of the justification for the fee is that there is growth. And the methodology used here is what's known as an incremental methodology, and that allows for collection of those fees as the city grows and expenditure of those fees on these types of improvements as the city grows commensurately. So given those land use assumptions for all of these components to get combined, you'll see here individually the amount of infrastructure that's needed, that's projected based on those growth assumptions. So by way of example, the first one is acres of community park land that's needed to meet the needs that we've projected as part of the study and the growth. The growth projections is about 19 acres over 10 years. So this is a 10-year amount of growth. And the cost in today's dollars is about $1.2 million. And you'll see here the summary of all of those growth-related needs and a combined total need of $37 million, again, over 10 years. So if you annualize it, you divide by 10 to get that sort of average annual number. If you were to adopt fees or consider fees that excludes neighborhood parks, given the potential for getting or having neighborhood parks being dedicated, donated, provided through the zoning process, this would be the fee schedule without neighborhood parks. So again, two options here: by type of unit, that's shown at the top, and then by size of the housing unit shown at the bottom. So this is less because this excludes those neighborhood parks components. So at the maximum supportable rates, with, again, looking at this kind of two different ways, the 10-year projected potential parks impact fee revenue, if those rates were adopted at the maximum level, if growth occurred as shown in the projections in the land use assumptions. So with neighborhood parks, the projected total revenue would be about $32.3 million. Without the neighborhood parks, again, at that lower fee, $26.4 million. And with that, I will turn it back to Catherine. Thank you.
So today, Council has a couple of options. I would like to remind you that the resolution as presented is adopting the maximum amount without neighborhood parks. That's how the resolution is written. So your options today are to vote yes, to vote no, to vote to amend, or to vote to table. And of course, if you have any additional questions, we're here to answer those. Hopefully I, Julie, or Stephen could answer those to your liking.
Thank you, Catherine. Any questions? Councilor Goulet.
Hi, can we jump back one slide? Sorry. I just wanted to look at the city again. One more, please. Okay, great. So thank you for clarifying that we were doing the excluding neighborhood parks option. But can you clarify if we are doing the unit type or residential unit by size option?
Thank you for asking, Councilor. I forgot to mention that. As was discussed during our work session and seemed to be the most preferred option, the recommendation is to do by unit size. That was also the recommendation by CIAC. That is in keeping with how we assess our public safety impact fees, and so there's some consistency across the board doing that.
Great, thank you, and that was my preference and just wanted to get it out there. Thank you so much.
Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I know I said this last time. I want to say it again because we've been having this conversation for a very, very long time. The need to improve our park impact fee structure has existed for a very long time. And so I just really want to appreciate you leading on this, Catherine, and all of you doing the math and all of it, and the conversations we used to have at TSI, PRC. That doesn't even exist anymore. And so just really wanted to express gratitude for having this very courageous conversation and for getting us here. I don't think we necessarily need to add it. I look at our city clerk, but part of the conversation we had at the work session was around coming back a year in to see if there was any indication of potential change on the smaller end of the unit, if it was yielding, if the current structure was yielding us the kind of multi-family development that we were hoping to see. I don't think that's language in here, and I don't necessarily think we need to add it, but I do want to just make sure that that doesn't get lost in the sauce. Catherine, I don't know if you want to speak to that.
Councilor Bencomo, Mayor, members of City Council, I think that we could, of course, add that as a work session item, sort of a tickler, if you will, in the future. I can work, of course, with the clerk to make sure that we have it on our calendar so that we can revisit it and see what's happening over time. I think it's a good discussion to have. And if not a work session item, certainly we can at least produce some data for you in a report.
Yeah, that would be my request, and that's really my only question. Thank you very much.
Thanks. Anyone else? Seeing none. Thank you, Catherine. Christine?
This is on the motion to approve Resolution 25-149. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes. Next on the agenda is board appointments. And there are none. Notice of proposed ordinances. We have one, Council Bill number 25-021, ordinance number 3092, an ordinance approving various zone changes to correspond to the Sonoma Ranch North Master Plan Amendment number 4.
Bring it forward. Jinx.
Next is City Council member board reports and comments. I'll start with Councilor McClure.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to report back on the Doña Ana Juvenile Justice Continuum. I think I keep saying consortium. It's continuum. I'm going to try to say it over and over as I'm talking, just to get it right. We are kind of looking at overlapping services from the city, FYI, different sort of agencies are coming literally to the table. And also we have some presence from the news media. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll talk about that we're working on some efforts with that. Specifically, we also, as Paracosta and I went to the Criminal Justice Coordinating Council, which I had to write down because I will say that wrong as well. And Pat was able to say, hey, you know, if you're working on your strategic plan, please make sure to keep the youth in mind when they are facing sort of issues with the carceral system, and make sure that they have the best opportunities for diversion. So I'm just excited that that's coming together, and I appreciate everybody who comes out to that. Our next meeting is in July 30th. It's at noon, and it's here at City Council if you'd like to attend. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Matisse.
Thank you. I just wanted to say a thank you, Katrina. I just want to say thank you, Scott, and the organization that makes district meetings really great. We had a great turnout, great questions, but I just want to share with City Council, maybe it's coming forward, I don't know how quick, but it's the Climate Act, the transition to natural gas. That was one of the biggest concerns and questions that I had from, I think it was about 90 residents, but going to natural gas was quite a concern from them. And so with that said, I'd like to have a work session ASAP to get that particular item out front before we make any decisions that affect the public. I think it would be good to have a work session on the Transition Act and what we're planning to do with natural gas and electricity. We had some comments that, you know, if you're paying a $25 gas bill, if you go to all electric, it's $100, anywhere from 3 to 4 times greater going to all electric. And that's a concern for me. So I don't want any independent thinking or what we call dictatorship thinking that we have to go to all electric city. I would like to have the public maybe vote on this in the future, if they want electric, if they want gas, if they want wind, if they want solar, and not move the city to an all-electric city. It's quite expensive for those that are working class. With that said, if Mr. Akani, if you could maybe put a work session in place ASAP, and then we could just bring this out to the public and really make it an educational and public awareness. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Gray.
Yeah, I'll be quick because coincidentally I have a headache. I'm just want to say thank you. I'm going to, I don't need the glasses, but thanks. Just going to follow on from a public commenter and say thank you as always to Adrian Whitmer, Director of Utilities, because while the commenter thanked me for a quick response. It was actually Adrian who came in with pertinent information and made a connection to a member of her team who has already set a meeting to get the new resident, the information he needs. So as always, incredible response, and appreciate you and your team very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Corinne?
Thank you. I have a couple of sort of gratitudes for city staff and other folks in the community. Highland Park opening, so fun. Thank you to Parks and Rec, Public Works, LCPD, the community folks who were out there, the Highland Park Elementary School kids who were there that made it really fun. It was a really fabulous day. I feel really bad because the city, there were snow cones, and I think the teachers had to go back to school with the kids after these enormous, really sugary snow cones. But, you know, the park time was amazing, and the kids really enjoyed it, and I think it was a great opportunity for us to partner up, and I really felt lucky to be invited and to be there and to have that facility in District 5. I also wanted to shout out the ASCMV did their drive-through clinic yesterday at the Field of Dreams. Overall, they did a total of 2,056 vaccinations and microchips of various animals out the window of cars in the heat. And so I just want to thank the ASCMV staff. Yeah. I think it was about maybe 600 total animals, so some of them got 2 or 3 treatments. But I just want to thank the staff for doing that and making that impact in the community and making that a really affordable way to bring community health and microchipping to everyone. And then the last part, I wanted to shout out Ashley Curry, who was always really looking for ways for the city to collaborate. Last week we did a walkthrough or a don't get hit by a car through at Peachtree and Jornada, which is a really interesting intersection with several schools nearby, housing, desert that people drive their ATVs through to pick up their kids. It's an intersection of city and county. It's a really complicated school in and out situation with traffic, as I think all school comings and goings are really complicated traffic situations that I know are constantly working through and trying to figure out. But in this case, she brought together a team of folks from the school, our public works department, from the county, and we're going to have a follow-up conversation this week. But I just really want to appreciate that, thinking about alternative transportation, thinking about making getting to and from school easier for kids in the area. I really, really appreciate Ashley and all that she does in those ways. So thank you for that, and more to come. I know we can do something to make it safer. Like literally, I think just us standing there in neon vests helped a little bit, but it was still pretty harrowing. Like people on ATVs, driving through the desert, grabbing their kids, driving. It was quite something. So I think we can do some things to make it structurally safer for everyone involved. So thank you to Ashley and our Public Works team for stepping up to that. That's all. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilor Flores?
No comment.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Thank you. I didn't originally have any comments, but I do just want to address the energy transition plan, because I think it's incredibly important to provide accurate information to our residents and to our customers. The plan to do an energy transition plan has been in the works for over 5 years. A consultant was finally hired, E3, which is one of the best in the game, to evaluate our technologies and to reduce our environmental impacts. The reality is that the energy transition plan is focused specifically on low-income and middle-income families. As more and more wealthier folks are able to move towards electric uses of energy, natural gas will get more and more expensive for lower-income folks, and those are the customers that are going to get stranded with an asset that it's written in the stars. We must move away from natural gas given the climate crisis that we currently find ourselves in. And so I do hope that you engage in the conversation that we've been having for 5 years. I think certainly a work session would be good. I hope that our sustainability officer sends you information. This couldn't be the furthest from a dictatorship decision, and so I think it's a very important conversation we have, given who is disproportionately impacted by the effects of climate change. But it is a really exciting time for the city to be having these kinds of conversations, as we are definitely leading the state in what this can look like. Thanks, Mayor.
All right, thank you. I do have a few comments, but before I do, I want to ask Brad to share on one of the comments that was asked earlier by Mr. Wilcox about the weeds and that ordinance, so Brad can give an update.
Thank you, Mayor. So yeah, I appreciate Mr. Wilcox coming in. I hate that he left, but maybe he'll see this later, or someone can tell him about it. Received some information from Mr. Wilcox regarding negative experience he had in our municipal court. And as you all know, our municipal code is pretty comprehensive. It's pretty long for a local code, and from time to time, sections of it need to be updated. And so with regard to the problem that Mr. Wilcox ran into, I am working on an update to part of our nuisance chapter, and we're hoping to bring that to you all within the next few weeks for your consideration and vote. So thank you to Mr. Wilcox.
All right, thank you, Brad. So a couple of things that took place was the Mayor's Jazz Fest, and thank you to Parks and Rec and Visit Las Cruces and all the work they do to get that going. It's a kickoff for summer music in the parks, and so I think this past weekend was at the Amador Live, and so that facility was utilized and a great experience, so that will continue. So that got kicked off. I know Connie will share some of the other dates and other information on that. Another thing that took place last week was with economic development. The county had reached out to the mayor of Juarez to talk about maybe doing some things at the border and expanding on economic development with Border Alliance and Borderplex. So that took place Friday. He came down. It's a huge thing for the mayor of the Ciudad de Juarez to come down and visit our community. So that was great, and it's establishing those relationships for economic development and would benefit Doña Ana County and the city of Las Cruces. Coming up, we have a couple of things this Saturday at the Young Park, Fish with a Cop, June 7th. It's from 8 to 12, and that's for a lot of kids. And anyone that doesn't have a fishing pole or a rod, that will be provided. So for all the kids out there to come in and join in Fish with a Cop. The other event we have is Becky Graham Invitational. So it's a boxing event at the PAL Gym. It'll be this Saturday afternoon on Solano, 700 North Solano. You know, I do have to give her kudos and a shout out for, she talked about the bike family and group, and she's an avid bike rider, but she's also a boxer that volunteers and coaches and gives time and have put a lot of work into the PAL Gym and to help those kids to stay off the streets and put them in the right direction. And it's really appreciated, and the PAL Gym is going to honor this invitational with a boxing event that's going to take place. So I'll be there to support. Thank you. And with that, I'll turn it over to our city manager.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem and City Council, Icani Tamupiao, City Manager. Just a few exciting things. Before I start with my notes, just want to thank, once again, echo the appreciation from this dais to the staff. As park impact fees was passed, this was something that has started years ago from staff in 2013 that tried to convince previous council to pass park impact fees for parks. That was essential, and so finally it has occurred, and I appreciate the courage from council to have that approval. That is transformational, something that our community needed for years. So just want to say thank you for that, and great things happening. So we'll continue to see the the positive impacts from Realize and definitely from park impact fees occurring as this plan is put into place. So thank you. Regarding communications, shout out and kudos to our communication office who won 7 Telly Awards. The Telly Awards are nationally recognized awards, and we earned several bronze and silver awards and 1 gold. Gold is only earned by the top 3% of entries. Kudos to Adrian, Nate, Cherish, and incredible, talented, and skilled individuals on the team, and we are very lucky to have them all on our city's team. So thank you, and round of applause is deserved. Telly Awards is the gold standard for communications in the nation, so that is very prestigious for us to be very competitive with 7 awards. Last year and previous years, we really haven't. We've submitted, had nominations, but we never took home. We never took home any of the awards until this year. What's that? Previous? Oh, good. Oh yeah. Okay. I under Mandy. Sorry, under Mandy. But you're right. Under the previous director, Councilor Flores. I apologize. Thank you. I stand corrected. Parks and Recreation. Parks and Recreation will be holding special programming for teens in a safe, supportive environment starting June 3rd, which is tomorrow. Tuesdays and Thursdays, open gym at Sierra and Lynn Middle Schools from 5 to 9 p.m., free event. Wednesdays, teen hangout night at A. Fielder Memorial Safe Haven on 906 North Dorneo from 5 to 9 p.m., also a free event. And then Fridays, summer teen takeover 7 to 11 p.m., sports tournaments, including sand volleyball, basketball, and globe pickleball, as well as open gym. Team registrations will be $1. Registration required, open gym free. Saturday, teen splashes will occur on, again, Saturdays from 7 to 10 p.m., 7 to 10 p.m., all Saturdays in June, as well as July 12th and 28th, $1 per participant. There is additional information on the website. What this is really creativity from our staff. I want to give kudos to our Parks and Rec staff, especially our Recreation Department. Kudos to Ryan Steinmetz, Robert Nunez, Amelia, and also all Parks, Steve Bingham, and JC and all the staff for making this happen. This was something from the dais that actually was requested for more programming for our youth, and our Parks and Rec department stood up to the challenge, and this is something that they've come up with. They were able to brainstorm some ideas, and so they've extended opportunities in open gyms. We appreciate the collaboration with LCPS and the superintendent there being so gracious with our staff to brainstorm and open 2 gyms, 2 middle schools, so that we can have a summer and extend the hours for our youth. So I just wanted to give kudos of what this is. So if you didn't catch this information, our social media will continue to push this out. I believe emails are going out to all the participants that we have stored on our directory, and so feel free to pass along this information. So I wanted to give kudos to PNR. Additionally, kudos to our Parks and Rec team in addition to our facilities team, who's activated the Amador Live facility. So yesterday, some of you may have been in attendance and may have been aware, but our Music in the Park started and was initiated at the Amador Live. And so that was a great turnout. We've had Daniel Sanchez and the Fungi Mongols play yesterday, but we continue to have weekly activities happening that'll be spread throughout either Amador Live or Young Park and other facilities. But we will continue to be hosting as well the movie series that will start June 14th with Wicked. 8 movies in total will be shown from June to September, all outside at the venue. And last, I'll end with a few bullet points from Quality of Life. We appreciate Senator Ben Ray Lujan's roundtable discussion at Munson Center. I, along with various staff from the CMO and Quality of Life, were able to attend along with a panel from the community. We appreciate Sonia from the Quality of Life who led the panel discussion. Great information was shared. and that occurred on May 27th, which covered many important topics regarding the impact on seniors of potential cuts in federal government programs. The program received excellent coverage on social media via Facebook, X, and Yahoo News. It was also covered online via New Mexico Source, in print via both Albuquerque Journal and the West Virginia News. We are grateful for the attention to this important topic. Additionally, the Abuse in Later Life Awareness Health Fair is scheduled for June 6th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Munson Center. Representatives from local agencies, including Adult Protective Services, the New Mexico Department of Health, and area law enforcement will be in attendance. Also, Quality of Life Public Art successfully implemented community mural event that took place last Saturday, May 31st at 814 North Tornillo. This design was developed by muralist Jesus Simi Alvarado from El Paso. More than 50 people turned out to help paint the mural on parking lot wall, and it looks great. Last but not least, Moonlight at the Museums was also a success last Saturday evening with 267 adults visiting the museum, which featured an opportunity to visit the exhibits and enjoy adult beverages and food trucks offerings for purchase. And Mayor, that is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Connie. With that, look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
This is on the motion to adjourn the meeting. Counselor McClure?
Yes.
Counselor Matisse?
Yes.
Counselor Graham?
Yes.
Counselor Cran?
Yes.
Counselor Flores?
No, I want to stay here. Why should we adjourn? Of course. Yes.
Counselor Bencomo?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.